First things first, how are you guys?
I'm very hungover. I'm good. I didn't know. This interview was being recorded. So now I feel extremely self-conscious. But I'll try. I even put chewing gum in before we started. I don't know why.
Our manager in the background was going, "Yes, you did, Jake."
Yeah. we had a bit of a night last night, as I was just explaining to you. But no, we're good. We're good. We're in a good place.
Did you talk about music yesterday?
We talk about music a lot of the time. Our relationship is actually, we have to really, because whenever we do meet up, basically me and Charley are best friends. So we try and not make our whole relationship based around our jobs, which is music. So as much as we always try and steer away from like talking about everyday stuff, we do somehow always come back. Well, I do anyway, to, oh yeah, Push Baby, you know that. So it's, we did speak about music, didn't we? We always do, I guess. We always do.
Yeah.
So where I kind of want to start is, I read somewhere that with Push Baby, obviously you had a previous band called Rixton, and you did quite well with it. Then there was a hiatus, and now you're back as Push Baby. What is the biggest challenge of restarting, so to say, because you were doing quite well with Rixton?
I think the biggest challenge is getting so far. It's like playing snakes and ladders. That's the best way to describe it. Is like you get so far and high up the leaderboard, if you will, and then you kind of come all the way back down, and then you realize that like the keys that you had at the top for the doors to open up and get these opportunities are just locked. So you're just like knocking on these doors, and it's like, nah, back down you go, mate. You decided to be independent. This is what it's like. So, it's a lot more challenging, but 10 times more rewarding when it pays off. So, yeah, I would definitely say it is challenging, but the payoff is amazing. What about you, Chaz?
Oh, I agree, mate. Yeah, I agree. I feel like we are enjoying the process a lot more now, taking it a lot, in more, and I'm certainly a much more happier person. And I just love working with my best friend with no worries, no stress. That's a lie. There's a lot of worries and stress.
I'm not your best friend.
No, but I can imagine because, well, I suppose very early on, music becomes your dream, kind of, right? That's the thing that you want to do. You pursue it. It goes well. You kind of end up in a band that is doing really well, but then you make the decision. I think it was based on creative kind of, as you mentioned, you wanted more control for yourselves. But was that a tough decision to make because you were doing so well? And I mean, you were, I think, opening up for Ariana Grande and those kind of things. So things were happening, and to say kind of as they were going up, to say kind of, okay, no, this is not it. This is not what we envisioned when we were kind of dreaming of a career in music.
Yeah, I mean, I think we also didn't really have a choice. I'd love to say that, we pivot when we were at the top. We were like, nah, this isn't for us. Let's go home. But when we were doing these things, we were signed by, I think, about 4 or 5 major labels. And they just all toppled one by one. We stopped making them money. They put too much in, they didn't get enough out, and they were like, right, go home. And I think in that moment where we went home, we kind of had that thing of like, right, do we just go at this as Rixton, but we're obviously we're not gonna have the same power behind us. We're not gonna have the same whatever. The story's like taking a turn. So it's either carry on with Rixton and try and chase this almost, I don't want to say impossible, but it takes a lot of money and resources and work to get a #1 record. You can't just release a song and get a #1 record. Obviously, some slip through the net, but there was $1 million spent on that song. And people are like, why can't you just have a #1 record again? It's like, well, why can't you just fucking give me $1 million? Why don't we just start there? So, yeah, it was really freeing to be able to be like, right, let's go home and start again. But also at the same time, we didn't really have a choice. So rather than crying over spilt milk and being like, oh, we just like, let's fucking get on with it. Let's just start a new band, get stoned and write some music.
Yeah, those initial sessions then, as you kind of, as that decision was made, and then you start thinking about what ultimately would become Push Baby. What were those first sessions like, where you start to kind of figure out what type of music you want to make? Or did you already know, perhaps?
No, mate. I think those initial sort of months or even years were like us just letting go of absolutely everything and just experimenting with every instrument, every sound, and just getting lost back into like doing music again, and just like loving, not really trying to create songs, just trying to just create things. They were like 20 minutes long or 2 seconds, do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And just trying to have fun with it all again. And I think that process made us like carve out the sound it is now. But it was a real fun journey, that little moment of discovering what we're gonna do. It was the best period, mate.
And just to add to that, like what Charlie said is that was the main thing, was like, we need to have some fun now. We've always been in these sessions with like writers who are on the clock or producers that are on the clock, and like, let's just get in a studio or a bedroom with a guitar and a mic, and let's just have fun. Don't think about making this song. Don't think about doing this. Don't think about doing that. And I think in those moments, Push Baby really was born, if you will, on the pun.
Where do your musical inspirations come from? Is there a specific kind of era of music that you really enjoy? Because what I hear, and for instance, Change My Mind, it's a lot of R&B from when I was a little bit younger as well. So is there kind of a specific thing that, as you mentioned, Charlie, you were experimenting? Was there a kind of aha moment, like, okay, this is more of what we want to do, and this is the direction we want to go in?
I think the common thread for me and Jake has always been pop music. Ever since I've always come from like a rock background, but always loved pop music and R&B. And Jake's always come from this R&B sort of pop. No matter what we do, it always ends up being in some sort of kind of pop vein, which is always handy to be on the same page. But you were the main influence for that sort of stuff, Jake, weren't you? The R&B, I suppose.
Sorry. I think definitely for this this album that we've been working on, and this album that we've got coming out, we always kind of like to start with reference points of how we want it to sonically sound. And the references for this album is very late 90s, early 2000s boy band pop, Britney Spears, very commercial. And I don't know why. I think it was just, we always like having references. I always think it's easier to potentially create from. At a certain part of the process, it's nice to have a reference to refer back to something of what the initial idea was. But yeah, it's very, especially now, we like to call it hyperbolic pop, where it's like deliberately exaggerated. So it's like, if we're going to do it, let's do it with conviction. Don't try and, like we've got ad-libs. We did our ad-libs track a couple of days ago, and it's all like, oh yeah, like baby. And it's all just like, I mean, it's better than that. But like we wanted to hone in on that NSYNC, Max Martin, Backstreet Boys, and see what it sounded like if Push Baby were in that era. What would they have sounded like? That's probably just going to be for this album, and then probably never go back to that reference ever again. So yeah, it's nice to stay malleable, I guess.
Is there, because I can imagine, kind of, it feels like you have to start over now, but building that audience and with kind of the music that you have in mind, what is your aim, so to say? Because as you mentioned, you're very much pop oriented. So what is kind of the aim now? Are you trying to kind of on a grassroots level build the audience again up to where it perhaps once was, or do you have different ideas of what success means these days?
Woo. I think it on a deep philosophical one, without going there, I think you've just got to be present. I think that we've both, and I imagine everyone does, can drive themselves insane thinking about where they're going to be in 5 years' time. And I honestly don't know where I am tomorrow, because we have an amazing manager, we have each other's back, and I feel like we just try and not worry about what's going on over there, because it kind of can downplay what's happening here. And what I think is happening here is something that I don't really want it to ever end. I think this is the fun bit, trying to figure it out. And I don't know if my manager's listening to this because he's with Charley, but he's probably listening to this going, "You're fucking bullshitter. You were screaming on the phone last week saying, we're not there yet." But obviously it fluctuates and changes. But yeah, I think, I don't know. At some point we'd love to, I guess the aim is always try and tell the truth, try and be as authentic as possible. So even when we're playing these, these pop characters, if you will, or doing these sort of things, it's like we're authentically doing it in our way. And I also think that, yeah, we'd love to make some money at some point. Not hundreds of thousands, just enough, a bit of rent for my girlfriend whilst I'm living in a West London home. Yeah, it's a journey, as always. It's been a mad one.
But earlier in the interview, you did mention that it's worth it going this independent route, that it's 10 times more worth it. So is it basically the fun that you have now, that is that what makes it worth it?
Go on, Chad.
Yeah, I think so, mate. I get way more sort of joy and pleasure out of writing and working with my best friends, and not really having like this destination in your mind. That is just such a rush to know that we can just create whatever we want to do and just put it out and live by the day. It's feels really nice.
So with this upcoming album, it's not completely done yet, if I'm not mistaken. But what if we compare it to Wow Big Legend? Well, how do you see that evolution of the sound or the songs?
I think this one's definitely more honed in. It's definitely got a sound to it. It's a lot more.
It's been curated for sure, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we sat down yesterday and really went through every single thing. And it's just a lot more cohesive. The vision just feels stronger. And like, even as far as like the imagery with the album, having the team around us to be like, right, this is, our PR legend, Hassan, from Jack, our manager. It's like, this is the vision, this is the album, what can we do around this that when people listen to the music, they can go, they all kind of make sense. Whereas I feel like Wow Big Legend was a bit all over the place, but that's because we kind of were. There was like, I think all in all, like 10 producers. Okay. I think we went and we rented out a house in the middle of nowhere and just kind of took parts from certain things. So like put this person's drums with this person's keys, and then like, so it was a lot more collaborative and all over the place, whereas this is actually just me and Charley in a garage with tools. And I think it's it's great. We love it.
When you mentioned this overarching feeling, is that thematically then as well, or is it more in terms of the textures and the sounds?
In terms of this album?
Yes, the upcoming one.
Text. Very sonically.
Okay.
Yeah, very sonically honed in. What did we have, chat? Because we listened back. We went and watched a load of documentaries about Max Martin and Denniz PoP. Are you familiar with Max Martin and Denniz PoP?
The second one, no, but the Max Martin, I am. Yeah.
So Max Martin, he'll bloody kill me for saying this. No, he kind of owes it all. He openly admits that he owes it all to this guy called Denniz PoP, and basically all they were this just cool Swedish dudes from like rock backgrounds that could weirdly make groundbreaking pop music for major label artists. So when we went back and looked at all of what they were doing over in Sweden, they just had this tiny analog device called, what was it, the JV 1080?
Yeah, the Roland JV 1080, yeah.
And we managed to find one. And that's kind of the backbone of the whole, it is like figuring out these sounds of like, you know, all these different, I mean, Charley's the one to answer all of that, but it definitely just drip feeds throughout the whole record for sure.
Yeah, what is generally, because I suppose it differs per song, but what is generally the way you work then? The way you, for instance, with lyrics as well, but when do the lyrics come in, and do you both write them? How does that work?
Go on, Chaz.
It does work sort of differently sometimes, but most of the time. But Jake does all the lyrics.
Okay.
He's a lyricist, definitely, for sure. And I think that's why a partnership works quite well, because, you know, I'll focus more on the music and the sounds, and Jake will have like a song written out, you know, and on an acoustic, and he'll send it to me, and I'll just basically figure out like, how can I turn this sonically into like where I feel like it should be, you know, and that's kind of how it starts. Or I'll have like a production piece I've just come up with, and I'll send it to Jake, and they will literally send it back to me, mate, all written and sung. It's like really strange. But that's kind of usually how it works, really. We kind of just bounce back and forth on little ideas. But Jake is we have our sort of set roles, which is nice.
It's really lovely that. Thanks, Chaz. That's cured my hangover. I think the best way to describe it is our best friend Dan, who kind of shoots a lot of the content for us, said the other day, it was like, you really fill in each other's blanks, like fill in each other's gaps. And I feel like that's why it works, because as much as, like, I think Charley's running Push Baby and he thinks I'm running Push Baby, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything. I couldn't do that. Like, so that's why I feel like it's a perfectly balanced give and take relationship. And rarely we have any sort of creative clashes, because I hit him with the back of my hand, bang, right across the face, bang, no, bang. No, it's we rarely have creative clashes, which we might do down the line. Like that's just growth, that's just evolution. But I think for now is whenever we get to that, we're like, right, let's go to the pub. Let's go.
Do you have a favorite one on the upcoming album? In terms of
me personally,
yeah, just in terms of the lyrics or the story that is being told.
Have you got one, Jay?
Well, I would say that this album that we did, I mean, this isn't the best advert for the album ever, but It's not the most personal. That was kind of never the aim. The aim was to create something that Britney Spears fans would love, and finding the authenticity and seeing where we kind of stand in that. I mean, obviously there's definitely, actually, I don't know what I'm on about. I think a lot more the singles are very much, here's a single for you, and a lot of the album tracks are like, you know, this is for us. And I think what's exciting is when we arrive at that destination as artists of like, wait, this is all for us. This is also us. This is whatever. But there's a song called Special People, like Special People, which is really exciting. There's a song called Get Up, Get Out, which Charley doesn't know that. Well, I told him yesterday of kind of where it came from and where it's about. It was a lot about our Charley's social anxiety. Sorry, mate, throwing you under the bus. But Charley does suffer. No, Charley.
I'll leave you to it, and I'll go grab a coffee.
But basically, it's called Get Up, Get Out, but it's wrapped up in this, like, if you wouldn't dissect the lyrics, or if you didn't, whatever, phonetically it just sounds good and rolls off the tongue. But probably if you scratch under the surface of every song there is. It's basically like, on the surface, just such shallow water. It's so shallow, but created in a deep way. It sounds really wanky and stupid, but like, it was really well constructed and thought of. And it wasn't just like, yeah, that'll do. It was like, there's definitely feeling behind it all. So yeah, but definitely Get Up, Get Out is definitely one of my favorites off the new album, which no one's heard yet. What about you, Charley?
I would say that is my favorite, actually, because it actually sounds completely different to a lot of the songs on the album. And it was one of the last songs that we had wrote, and it's a bit of a bridge, I feel like, to maybe what could happen next. It's slightly out of our comfort zone, and it does feel completely different. So it was a really good process to sort of be a part of, actually, mate. And yeah, that's true, isn't it, Joy? It does sound completely different to a lot of the tracks on there.
It sounds like an early is this Get Up, Get Out?
Yeah.
It sounds like an early 2000s pirate video. You know, like when you would buy DVDs from Blockbuster and be like, are you pirating this guy? There's like, it feels very much like that. It's quite bombastic. It's quite in your face. Yeah, it's good. I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
Before we round off then, because the way you describe it and kind of the I don't know what the right word is, maybe the appreciation you have for pop music is kind of the aim then to create a perfect pop song, or to get close, as close as you can to what would be a perfect pop song.
I mean, yeah, we talk about this a lot. It's like it's so existential. Like, who decides that it's like the perfect pop song? So if it goes number one, then it's but we're probably never going to. Well, we haven't got our eyes on getting a number one record. I mean, we wouldn't fucking say no, obviously, but it's not our starting point. I guess Max Martin puts it this way. We watched loads of lectures, and we're going back to our boy Max. I guess if phonetically it rolls off the tongue, if it's if the formula feels right, if the lyrics have depth and meaning to them, but at the same time it can make you dance and feel a certain way. I think it's basically just all of these components coming together to create a pop song. But the perfect pop song, I don't know what that sounds like. If I was to say one, someone would be like, what? It's just it's so subjective for sure.
No, definitely. But I mean, kind of the craft part of it. You definitely see it as a craft where you have to kind of, you have this idea and you keep shaving and you keep kind of trying to mold it into this thing.
Yeah, I think every song on this new album is verse, pre, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, bridge, outro. I think in terms of that formula, for sure, but on purpose. Like we would literally sit and listen to all of these songs and come to like take this formula and let's apply it to this, like almost like alchemy, like trying to figure it out. Whereas I think Wild Big Legend was just like, I don't know what this is. Like that we kind of knew the rules and we were we were just breaking them of like, these are just all these hooks kind of mashed together. Whereas this album is like, these are the rules according to Push Baby of pop. Well, not really, according to Max Martin, according to the, like, you know,
the industry, I suppose.
The industry, yeah. The giants before us.
So final question then, because I can imagine you had that hiatus. I believe you came back together 2019-ish. Then you start kind of building up again, and then the wind kind of gets taken out of your sails by a two-year-long pandemic. So having that, trying to ramp up, then having that slump again, or kind of that stop again or halt, and then now in the past maybe 6 months trying to get everything going again. What has that process been like?
I think that we really excelled in the lockdown.
Okay.
In a rather sadistic way, we took full advantage of being locked in our bedrooms. We didn't take our foot off the gas. There was no distractions. You know, as artists, as creatives, that's the hard bit, is figuring out, like, right, we're up at 9 every day and we're working on our craft. And if we're not, we're out enjoying life. Like, we're not taking, you know, whatever. We take the job very seriously. So when we went into this lockdown, we didn't even have to tell each other. We were just like, we're gonna, you know, work hard. We did live stream shows. We wrote we wrote this album, was written in the lockdown. It felt like an opportunity. I had a lot of artist friends, and look, there's no right or wrong way at all. Everyone deals with, like, you know, whatever. But I had a lot of artist friends of like, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I'm just gonna sit and watch TV in my underpants and whatever. And for us, as amazing as that sounded, and of course we did that on certain days, but this was a time to, like, go. This was a time to really, you know, we love making content. We love playing that game. We love social media. For us, it works for us. It's one of our tools. It's one of our, and we're very good at that. And it was a time for us to prove that to other people and mainly ourselves. And it worked. We got through it. We came out of lockdown with a development deal in process. You know, we had this album lined up. It just really, it really helped shape our work ethic, for sure.
And I suppose the future is looking bright then, now with the album coming out and kind of a sea of possibilities. Yeah,
hopefully. I think, again, just get through this hangover today, and then I think we'll be good.
Gentlemen, may I thank you for your time.
Robin, thank you so much, man. We'll hopefully see you very soon.